All right, we're here, Jesse.
I know we made it to November.
We have, and this is Real Talk, episode 28. We are doing a self-care check-in with the holidays looming, which, as Jesse mentioned, we can't even believe that it is halfway through November already, which is
hmm
crazy.
It is very crazy. It seems like it's just flying by.
Yes. If our listeners, watchers, or anything like us, we were saying we're like, well, the month is over. Well, as Jesse says, like the
Yeah.
year feels over. Like everything's already scheduled out. It seems like.
Yeah.
So we are just going to talk today about self-care, about stress around the holidays. I think we've talked a lot, and if y'all haven't watched it, go back and watch our episode from earlier in the year in January about grief during the holidays. But we also wanted to touch on just that, like the holidays in and of themselves can be stressful, and that stress isn't always a pejorative term. It doesn't always have to mean something negative.
Right.
Positive things in your life can also be stressful, and it's important to acknowledge that and just acknowledge even time and energy that you're spending, even if it's towards things that you love or if it is stuff that might be draining for you. So we just wanted to have a holiday check-in, holiday stress gab session, and yeah, y'all come with us on this journey because we haven't planned it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw it to you, Jesse. How have you been?
I've been pretty good. We're talking about stress, so we're just getting ready. We live in a different state than our family, so the traveling, and then we have our cats that we have to like. Okay, well, we can't leave them this long, so we got to like get with each family and be like, okay, so we're gonna do you this day, and then the next day this day. So just kind of planning everything, and like I like how you said, stress doesn't have to be negative because I'm super excited to spend time with family. So that's always, my big thing. I love spending time with family, but it's a little stressful trying to plan, who you're gonna go see, what day, how long you're gonna stay, when you need to get back, and make sure your cats are, my poor little kitty cats can't come. So, I'm like, I don't want to leave
Yeah.
them too long. So, but it's been fun, coming up with a menu with my mother-in-law and my mom, and we're all just trying to, discuss what we're gonna bring. And we do banana pudding every year, because we don't put bananas in our banana pudding, and we don't use vanilla wafers. We use chessmen cookies.
I'm like, what is in this pudding then?
I'm telling you, it's like this like secret recipe that they've had, like my wife's family's had for years, and like there's no bananas in it, but like it's like banana flavored like pudding, and there's a bunch of other ingredients that go in it, and it's literally the best banana pudding I've had in my life. And I mean, and they don't use vanilla wafers because they said that they get soggy quick. So they use chessmen cookies, like the holiday chessmen cookies, like the regular ones. Right now they're holiday, but yeah. So we make it for Thanksgiving and Christmas because that's what everybody wants, and everybody wants to like own containers. So we're like sitting here with our containers. We're like, okay, we need 19 bags of cookies and like, like this Cool Whip and stuff. And we went and bought the ingredients and stuff. And the lady was like, do y'all really just like these cookies? And we're like, it's for banana pudding. And then she was like, and I put like gave us this look like I think you meant to get vanilla wafers, but I'm not gonna say anything. But no, I mean I've been good, just kind of getting excited for the holidays. And then my sister had her baby last weekend, so it'd be her little first
Congratulations.
Thanksgiving. I know, and she's so tiny. Like they said that she was gonna be like 9, pounds. She was only 7, so like 7 pounds and 12 ounces, and she's so tiny and beautiful, and we're excited to spend time with her. Um, so that's gonna be nice, and then of course just get to enjoy family. What about you? How you been?
Well, so I've been all over the place as I've been listening to you, and I'm like, man, Jesse's, even keeled, and I've been like a roller coaster lately. I feel like, you know, part of it is just because, like, with stress in general, that like with my husband and I, Lewis and I, going through everything we've been going through so far with like fertility that I talked about on my stress dump episode,
Oh
which is
yeah.
what that turned into. Just trying to like give myself the permission that like puts me at a pretty high like stress level
Yeah.
already. And I think I'm bad at like acknowledging that because it's not, I don't know, like it's something that just ends up kind of like becoming like part of you basically, which is
Yeah.
weird. but then like you kind of forget like how much stress it adds to you. But I've had like a lot of really like great influences reminding me to like take that like into consideration for myself.
Yeah.
That like I had a random like appointment with my OBGYN. We were just like checking in on like nutrition and stuff like that because she's been doing a lot to help me to like get my body as perfect as possible for perfect is not a word, healthy as possible for
Right.
if I should hopefully get pregnant and things like that. And she was just kind of like, and she's not the type that normally is like pretty, she's kind of like, here we are, here's the information. But she was like, okay, I'm just gonna like get you to pause for a second and just like really acknowledge that you going through what you're going through with fertility is a lot. So like cut yourself a break and like cut stuff out that you need to. Like she was really encouraging me that with like work and personal life. Um, because I'm a really extroverted person. I draw a lot of energy from being with my friends, being with my family, having the position I have with work, which is so outward facing and, doing outreach and doing trainings and being with people. But it's like I just keep feeling so drained some of the time where she was like, yeah,
Yeah.
you've got literally something draining you emotionally. So just like, you can say no to some things sometimes. And I'm like, no, I can't. So but it's hard to figure that out, I guess, for me. And then I think sometimes when I say that this is like my stress, it makes me feel like I'm like a whiny brat because I'm like, oh, I just have so many things that I'm invited to. Um, but it just is for me that it's like I want to be at. First of all, I have real bad FOMO. I can just acknowledge that about myself. I don't want to miss out on things and not be a part of the memories. So that has just been like I think sometimes that I'm like pushing myself to like want to be at everything, but then I actually do really want to be at everything. But then just
Yeah.
to acknowledge that like I'm a little tired and like that's okay too. But that came to a head with me. So we actually just this past Sunday did my family's Thanksgiving with like my cousins and uncles and aunts and everything. And so that's yesterday from when we're recording this now. But even that was like me hitting a threshold with us just like scheduling it because I basically said it was like I feel like when you have something like fertility or just whatever, any kind of stress that you have to just kind of carry with you, there's not something you can necessarily like do about it day to day,
Yeah.
that it's like you have to compartmentalize it. And I was talking about that with my doctor and with my counselor. Shout out to Bonnie as always. But that I was like, I feel like I'm kind of being a bad clinician in that like I'm not processing a lot. And that's what and they were like, you have to compartmentalize this a little bit because you can't do anything about it. So it's you
Yeah.
have it affect all day, every day. So with that, it's like I feel like emotions just are like leaking out of me when I have no idea that they're coming. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
Like you're holding so much in and you have to that then it's just like random things. I'm like, it's like an outpour.
Yeah, but that is a lot to deal with though. Like you said, you're just you got a lot with fertility, you got a lot going. You got to do a lot of stuff for it. So that on top of that, and then trying to, handle the holidays and, you are everywhere with V-Link. I mean, all the things that you do get invited to, I can understand not wanting to miss that.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't, I mean, it's nice to be able to go to those things. So it is a lot. So I could see where you're just like at the end of the day, just exhausted, but like you said, you got to take care of yourself and make sure you're okay at the end of the day and able to kind of get that rest that you need because that's going to help you as well feel better.
Yeah. I was really appreciative of my mom, as I mean, I always am, but with my family, like scheduling Thanksgiving, this is the first Thanksgiving since my grandfather passed a few months ago, and Thanksgiving was his holiday, like his everything. Love Thanksgiving. So it's something that we've always like held very respectfully in our family for Poppy because like he's like, we don't jump from Halloween to Christmas, kind of
Right.
thing. And earlier in the year when we thought like he was still going to be alive for Thanksgiving, but he was in such decline from dementia and whatnot. We're like, we don't really know if we're going to do Thanksgiving, what have you. So, Lewis and I, my husband and I actually scheduled to be out of town in Jackson, Mississippi to spend Thanksgiving with his mom, because her birthday is actually on Thanksgiving this year.
Oh
So we were like, well,
wow.
this will be cool. I don't think my family, if we're doing Thanksgiving, it's not going to be on Thanksgiving. Like, let's go, spend that holiday with her. That seems like the best thing to do. Then then Poppy passed, and then, my mom and my aunt and my uncle were like, we should really like honor him by making sure we do Thanksgiving for him. And they were trying to schedule a date. And my mom had said on my behalf, like, oh, Sherrod's not going to be here. So, like, whatever, like, don't work the schedule around her. But I had said that when we didn't know if we were really having Thanksgiving. Then it was like, well, now it's Poppy's Thanksgiving. Like, I want to be here. But like,
Yeah.
nobody necessarily knew that. And then it got scheduled when I couldn't be there. And I just like cried all day. It was ridiculous.
Oh.
And like, I didn't know what to do about it. And finally, my mom like got it out of me and was like, do you want us to reschedule? We can look at a couple different weekends. And I was like, I don't know. That gets when you're like, I'm upset, but I know this is disproportionate, so I don't know how to communicate anything. And
Right.
but so she did. So she talked with my mom and no, my mom talked with my aunt, my uncle, and they rescheduled for Sunday so that I could be there, which was really sweet because I know it wasn't exactly what everybody wanted to do because it's kind of a little bit removed from the actual holiday, but I just really
Yeah.
appreciated that. And it's been a little bit harder to schedule because my cousin is having her baby on Wednesday. So
Oh.
we were all very excited for that. So it was like, well, we can't have it this coming weekend as we're going to, because it was like she's going to have just given birth. And so like
Yeah.
obviously her mom and dad and sister are gonna like want to be with her and
Yeah.
everything. So it was just all of that. But and so she was not there with us on Sunday because she was at her house, big and pregnant, but we FaceTimed. And especially for the toast, my grandfather used to always write different toasts or like little poems and stuff for holidays, but especially Thanksgiving. So my uncle wrote one and read it for all of us. So we had my cousin on FaceTime with her husband, and so we could just like tribute to my grandfather for that. And I'm sure like, that just it's just knowing what that was like for me, like that being my grandfather, I can't imagine the stress, like not stress, but just like mixed emotions for his children, my
Yeah.
mom and my aunt, my uncle, and especially for my uncle, it's his daughter that's about to have her baby, her first one. And so it's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. Like, so
Yeah, it's a
I was
lot.
really appreciative. They like took me. I mean, of course, it's like I know that they would. Like, I don't know, but I'm always it was just really nice to be like, okay, we will all rearrange for you. Everybody was happy to do so, at least presented it to me like they were. So
Yeah, well, that they probably were. I mean, that's sweet. And like I said, I always feel like, when you're younger, you don't realize how stressful it is for your parents and trying to, with people having to be one place and another place, and then, when they have their kids, like when we were younger, it was always at my grandpa's house for the longest, even Christmas, and he loved Thanksgiving, he loved Christmas, and when he passed away, when he got a little older, they started doing it at my uncle's house, and they would do it a week before Thanksgiving, and then Thanksgiving Day, you'd kind of just spend with your family, but you would still talk to, everybody would still call each
Mhm.
other and stuff. But when he passed away, um, it was really hard to kind of do holidays, for a while there. I mean, we still got together, but it's never feels the same. It just feels a little weird, especially the first few that you go through. Um, and I mean, I know now, to me, and it's been next year will be 10 years, but it's still like Thanksgiving's kind of weird for me, with my grandpa not being there. And then Christmas, definitely, because he always liked to, read a story and, then he'd talk about the Bible and stuff. And then he would make his little Watergate salad that nobody ate, but he swore it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
And, you're just putting it on your plate to be respectful, but you're like, okay, grandpa, like, whatever. Yeah, it's amazing. But, and like so much has changed with our family and stuff since then, just because, like all of us are older, a lot of us have, kids and don't have kids, or, some of us live out of state. So I feel like the most stressful thing for our family is getting everybody together and then trying to accommodate. Like my grandmother moved in with my parents to, because she lived with my grandpa and she can't be on her own. And then we have a Down syndrome aunt, which is their child, and so she also moved in with my mom and dad. So my grandmother can't handle a lot of noise. Like it kind of gives her anxiety and stuff. So like Thanksgiving Day, like they kind of do like a traditional, like like my mom's not big on traditional Thanksgiving food. She doesn't like turkey, stuff like that. So we usually do a theme. Like last year, I think it was like bring your favorite dish and let it be a surprise. And then Christmas, it was like I want to say Italian, which I think we're doing Italian this year for Christmas, and I think we're doing Mexican this on Friday with, and then Saturday we're all getting together at my family's house and doing like finger foods like sandwiches and pizza and just kind of hanging out. But like my grandmother can't handle a lot of noise. So we try to accommodate her as best as we can, but like everybody has kids, so we're like, well, Thanksgiving, y'all can, let it be y'all, but Saturday, they like, listen, everybody's gonna come over just for an hour or so and visit. So, I mean, that's, I think, the most hard, like, the most stressful part of Thanksgiving and, planning for holidays is trying to accommodate people because you want to see everybody, so it's kind of hard to do sometimes, or like, it's almost like, you kind of have to do different days. And if you're married or, and they got family stuff going on too, then you got to plan them and see what they're doing. So it's just like, I really think that's the most stressful part. But like I said, I don't want to view it as negative because I'm
Yeah.
like excited for it. Um, but I definitely try to do like extra self care. Like I try to, like read my book a little more or like try to go on more walks or try to tell myself, hey, like, cause I get overexcited and I'm just like bouncing off the wall. Like, and I have like a billion things like we need to start packing. And I know it's not until next week. And I was like, well, I need to make sure I got this outfit. And my wife's like, you got to calm down. I'm like, I just so excited. But then again, I feel like we have so much stuff to do. And then when we get home, because we don't live in the same state as our families, we have a lot to do when we get home as far as like doing the cat boxes, unloading, and
The laundry, all
the
this.
laundry. So it's
Yeah.
almost like it's like it's fun, but then we're like on the way home, you're exhausted because you just did all this stuff with your family and it was busy. And then when you get home, like granted, we both we can get it done pretty quickly, but you're still exhausted, and so it's just almost like you're not really like really relaxed. Like you're almost kind of like on the go, and I think this year it's been a lot for us because we've had so much go on the last couple of weeks between birthdays. My sister having her baby, and trying to plan everything with everybody and trying to make memories for Halloween at the pumpkin patch. So we're having it seems like every weekend we've literally been in Georgia. I think this is the first weekend coming up that we're actually gonna be home in the last like 2.5 months. So, and my wife is excited because Wicked comes out on I think the 20th first, but we got premiere tickets for the 19th. So, and then
Are
she's
your
going,
costumes ready?
yeah, yes, girl, yes. And then the party's on Saturday, and I'm like, okay, you literally bought a bunch of Wicked party snacks because they have the Wicked girls on there, and we don't eat any of it. I'm like, so she's gonna sit in a bowl, and she was like, yeah. She's like, it's gonna be fun. I'm like, okay,
For the
you know.
theme, Jesse.
I know, I know. So so we're excited, and I was like, I remember like we were driving back from Georgia, and I was like, oh, we went and saw her sister. Her sister lives like a little bit further away, but she lives in Georgia. But we were driving back yesterday, and I was like, wow, we actually get to be home for 13 days straight before we have to head back out. And she looked at me and she was like, that's it. And I was like, yeah, because it seems like we're never home. But that's the most stressful thing. But I'm like I said, because it's almost like you got so much to do, and it's exciting at the same time. It's very exciting, but then it's almost exhausting. So it's like definitely weeks that like this weekend I plan on doing a lot of like like reading my book and trying to relax and just try to keep telling myself you don't got to do everything in one day, and it's going to be all right. Cause my brain just doesn't stop. When I know we got to do something and we got to make, 9 banana puddings and we got to do all these things, I'm like, I get stressed out pretty easily, but it's, not negative. I would say like, I don't think it's negative at all. I know like by the end on our way home, when it's all said and done, we'll be exhausted. So I always try to practice a lot of self-care before, and then especially when I get home, I try to tell myself, if you don't, just do this tonight, you can do it tomorrow. Like it's not, I try to remind myself it's okay.
That's the hardest part, I think, because like I think that sometimes that's overlooked about the stress of like having plans and traveling, because of course there is appreciation and everything for being able to go
Right.
and do what have you. But like, yeah, like that day when you come home and you're like, Rick, we gotta like unload everything,
Hmm.
wash our dirty clothes, get the suitcases put away, and it's like I give me the same way too, where I have to like have a talk with myself to be like, you don't have to like do all of this today if you don't want to.
I
But it's
know.
a lot. But I think, what's striking me from like listening to both of us, but especially you, is like that point of that stress and gratitude do not have to be mutually exclusive. You know,
Right.
that, it is totally okay and doesn't make you ungrateful or unhappy with something to be stressed by it, because it is a stress on your time, it's a stress on your brain. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. Like we've been like we're all of our weekends are booked up right now, basically through the end of the year.
Wow.
But it's like I'm not ungrateful for that. It's like it just is something with realizing like, okay, I need to like manage, some of my recovery and self-care time. But like it was like
Hmm.
this past weekend, like Saturday, we did Friendsgiving. Now, full disclosure for Friendsgiving, one of my contributors was Jello shots. So that also added to some recovery time needed this weekend because I am no longer in my 20s. But a lovely tradition was born. And so, um, first of all, did you know they have Sonic flavored Jello? Like it's like strawberry limeade and like ocean water and like their other like flavored stuff. So
No, but I did see that they had Skittle flavored Jello, and I was like, that is so weird.
okay, so for Jello shot, I'm not recommending Jello shots to our listeners from an objective place. That would probably be pretty good. But yeah, so that made my Sunday a little rough. But I had to rally because we were only having Thanksgiving with my family that Sunday because I had pitched a fit that I needed to be there. So it was like Lewis and I were like trying to like get out of bed the next day. And I was like, we cannot be late. We cannot do anything. Like we gotta, we have to be there. It's all my fault that we're even having it today. But then we had a great time. And then we ended up, it wasn't even planned, but we had what I'm calling now Doggo Thanksgiving because we all ended up bringing our dog. So
Aw.
and they were all really sweet together. My little Mikey with Hazel, that's my uncle's dog, uncle slash cousin. Not that the person is uncle slash cousin. The dog was originally my cousin's dog. She'd moved away, so my uncle now raised her, and then it's a whole thing. And then my aunt's dog, Wiley, who was there. Hazel is the name of the other dog. And they all were great. My aunt has the worst cat though. Like, I mean, just an awful cat. So I don't even think you would like this cat, Jesse. He's just a
Oh wow.
horribly behaved cat. And he's huge. And he was like walking after Mikey for a little bit. And I was like, that cat scratches my dog, it's over. But it
Yeah.
did. But he had to get locked away. The cat that is. But he like hisses. Um, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't know how I got here, but sorry to Yee if you're listening that I'm admonish. She doesn't like the cat either. She wants to. She loves the cat, but we can all recognize that horrible cat. I don't know why I'm talking about this now. I really don't. But yeah, okay, so that's what it was. Time. So like yeah, this weekend and then of course Friday I was cooking. This coming weekend we're doing Thanksgiving with my husband's family. And then we've got shout out to my boy Cullen, his birthday party. He's turning 7 or 8. Sorry, I can't remember. But so doing that, then we're going to Jackson for Thanksgiving. Then we're coming back, and then it's like we're going to the Renaissance Fair because we're cool that way. And like so, and then we go into December, and then I think it's like we still got stuff every weekend. But it's not well, my only thing that's really stressing me is being like, when am I decorating for Christmas? I didn't even do it. My husband was great and took the Halloween decorations down. And I normally decorate for Thanksgiving. I decorated the bar and put like a wreath up on the wall, but that's all we got. But I need to decorate for Christmas. That is a must. So, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh
My
my
sister, if she was not pregnant, I promise you, like, she would have had her tree and stuff up like the day after Halloween. Like,
yeah.
she has always been about Christmas. And I think they're actually decorating this week for Christmas and this weekend. And I mean, I'm like I said, I'm surprised. She was like, "Well, I can maybe do it before I go to the hospital and have little Mia." And I was like, I don't think you need to. Like,
Yeah,
you're
right.
hanging real low. Like, we're trying to get you to
You're
Friday.
hanging real
Like,
low.
please, yeah. Like, I don't need it popping out before Friday. So, yeah, decorating. Yeah, I haven't even thought about it. Like I mean, like for Thanksgiving, we usually like do like placemats on our dining room table, but we haven't did not pull them out this year, and we're not going to be home. So like because we don't live in this, the same state. So like really for Christmas, our cats are awful. Like we put up a tree and like
Yeah.
they're gonna knock everything down. So I'm just like, maybe we'll just do like a small tree in the corner and like put up a baby gate or something. And my wife just looked at me and I was like, well, every time we come home it's gonna be knocked over. I said we can't put lights on it because I'm sure they'll create a fire. Because our cats are wild. Like they anything new, they get excited about, and so I can just see them now, just all over. When we had like I mean, we had like little trees that we put like on our desk. Like we didn't decorate when we first moved. Like last year, we didn't decorate. We just had like little trees on our desk, and they still like ripped that up. And like we had like two balls on it, and they broke all the balls. And I'm just like, these cats are wild. Like I don't, they're wild.
The lights just reminded, it's a complete non sequitur to talk about myself, but I just got really excited because I forgot that I was looking at Christmas decorations that we could put outside because we don't have an outlet outside. So I was like, let's look for like solar powered things. And there's so much cute stuff that I have in my Amazon cart. And I told myself I'd wait for our next paycheck. We get paid this week so I can
Hmm.
buy cute, they're like solar powered, cool, like outdoor light type decorations. So
Oh, that is cool. I like solar power stuff. I always buy my mom-in-law some because she's really big into like her garden and stuff. And I always buy her something that's solar power that like, can get some sun during the day and then it's like at night it's pretty. Like I think I found like a bird like bath fountain and like the top of it's solar powered so it like lights up. But I think solar power things in the yard is so pretty.
I think it's fun just how like bar that's come with it. Because yeah, we have the same. So Lewis had bought for us a bird bath, and then it has like a fountain in it that's solar powered. And then he has bought us a couple of cute little like cute light things that we just keep out all year round. But yeah, it's neat how much they have. I was surprised like how much they had that was Christmas decorations that was solar powered because they have like strings of lights, which I didn't was fairly sure existed, but they have all these like cool things like there's like I'm getting I think like a metal like sleigh with a penguin in it and it lights up and it's solar powered and like
Oh,
all kinds
wow.
of fun stuff. They have like the like light up like candy canes, that you can like line your walkway with, but they're solar powered and all that, which also I love because not only because I don't have an outlet, but I am like also someone who is like hyper paranoid about things lighting on fire. So
Yeah.
I like unplug literally everything in my house before I leave it and stuff like that, except
Yeah.
like the microwave because I don't know where the plug is to it in this house. But before I used to unplug it. So
Yeah.
but which is, whatever. That's an
Yeah.
anxiety coping. So
Yeah, I can understand that because I'm the same way. I unplug everything before we leave. Now I do leave like one light on in our like living room slash like dining room for the cats, and then I used to leave a lamp on, and then I remember I was like, what if it catches fire because it's been on too long? And my wife was like, we've literally left it on while we were there for the whole weekend. I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna be the one weekend that it catches fire and it's gonna burn down our apartment. And she was like. And I was like, just turn around. We have to turn it off. Like I gotta
I
like
am the same way.
and I'm like, we just have that luck though. Like we literally have the worst luck. Like we'll say something and we'll laugh about it. And I'm like, yeah, that's us. That's gonna be us. We're gonna be the ones that, we're gonna be down the road and get a call like, oh, do you know your apartment's on fire because you left that one lamp on or and like I'll blow out the candle and put the lid on it, and then I'll go back like before I go to bed and I'll check it. And she's like, "You got the lid on it?" I was like, "Yeah, but our like will burn through, and then somehow our whole house is on fire." And she just starts laughing. But we have the worst luck with stuff like that, so I'm always paranoid.
always, and I actually don't have bad luck, knock on wood, with stuff like that, but I'm always paranoid about it. Like Lewis, literally, when we're like going to bed at night, he has to like, I'm in the bed, like go to the front of the house and be like, okay, front door is locked, back door is locked, the stove
Mhm.
and the oven are off, the refrigerator door is closed, which used to not always be on my list, except for one time. The freezer door opened in the middle of the night. Nothing bad happened, but that it was just like, but this could happen. I have to double check. So this is really sweet and like does that to me as like for me as part of our like nighttime routine.
And I think that's so funny that you mentioned the freezer. So like we have a latch on ours because our cats try to jump up and they'll kick it and somehow it opens. And like one time we bought literally like we found this deal, like it was like a meat shop or whatever, and they were doing this amazing deal, and we spent like all this money on this meat, and we literally like went out and did something, and then like I want to say we went to Georgia that weekend, and somehow when we got back, like the freezer was open, and like all that meat spoiled, all of
Gosh.
it. And it was so, and I cried. Like, I literally just started crying because, like, money's tight. So it's like every dollar that you spend, we account for. So I was like, that's literally our whole meat for the month that just went down the drain. Like, I just remember crying. And then, like, my mother-in-law like sent us food like Burger King or something. She was like, just calm down, like she DoorDashed us something to eat. And she was like, well, it's okay. Like, I got you. I'll help you out. Don't worry about it. And then, so I've been a little paranoid since then. And then it didn't happen again. And then we moved down to our other apartment. And I was sitting in the living room and I saw our cats keep trying to, because we try to keep them from getting on the counters, but they always jump like, because we have cabinets at the very top where our fridge is. And they'll jump and chase each other up there. And they don't care if you spray them with water, they don't care. They're like, yeah, keep doing it. We don't care. But I was sitting there and I was going to bed and I turned around and the freezer door was open. And I was like, well, how did it get open? I was like, maybe I didn't shut it. And so I shut it back and like I was checking the sills and I was like, okay, it's fine. Well, the next morning I woke up, thank goodness, nothing like went bad, but it was open. And I thought it was weird. So I shut it again. And then I saw my cat Drake and Skylar chasing each other. And Drake like literally like kicked it open. So now we have a latch on that on the freezer that you have to unlock to open the freezer. And we had to do that with the laundry room because they kept opening the doors and then he sits there and plays with the door. Like he shuts it, opens it, shuts it, opens it. And you're like, what is that noise? And it's so loud. And he does it to our like bathroom um counter, like our cabinet. So we have to shut those doors at night because he just does it for attention. And then so like we have latches like on almost every like in our laundry room door, our freezer. Now the kitchen, the regular refrigerator door he can't open, thank goodness, but he does the most. You do want to talk about a bad behaved cat? That one is the worst cat in the world, but he's so sweet and loving, so it's hard to be mad at him. But girl, when I tell you he does the craziest things, like one time I went up to go to the bathroom and he just jumped out of the counter and I almost died and had a heart attack. And he's just like, hey, like, not a big deal. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Or if you're trying to sleep in for self care to get the rest, he's sitting there with his paw under the cabinet door if you forgot to shut it. And he's opening it and shutting it. And then as soon as you call him, or you'll be like, Drake, stop. Here he comes, 500-pound self. And he's like, oh, you called me? You want love? And you're like, no, I just want you to stop.
You chill.
Yeah, just chill. Like, what's wrong with you? And the other cats just stare at him. They're like, what are you doing? And he's just like, and then my other cat, Ruffles, he just talks like he plays with these felt balls and he talks to it. He just meows and it'll be like 5 a.m. I'm like, Ruffles, shut up. Like, it's 5 a.m. And he's like, meow. And it's so loud. You can literally hear him from the other room. And I'm like, and I'll wake up and I'll go to him and I'm like, what is wrong with you? And he's just staring at his ball. And I'm like, really, Ruffles? I'm like, I'm trying to get enough sleep for the day. The cats are wild. I think some of them are worse than kids. Like, I really do. Like,
I
I don't understand.
mean, well, okay, I was literally about to say, at least your kid, kids probably couldn't open the freezer, but my friend's son Davey figured out how to get the popsicles out of the freezer, so they had to keep a lock on it now too. So, well, I think why don't we wrap up with practicing some gratitude? Because I think stress and gratitude, like we said, can go hand in hand. There's power of
Hmm.
and with gratitude. So why don't we just name, kind of being themed to Thanksgiving, even though I think we have another episode to post before Thanksgiving, but
Hmm.
with one thing that we are thankful for.
I'm thankful for my family. I think that's my biggest thing is just being able to still have majority of my family and get to spend time with them.
Yeah. I am thankful for my family. They're freaking amazing. I just almost said the F word, stopped myself. Um, I think I just have like the best, most amazing supportive family in the world. I would have to say right now, I think I'm having some extra gratitude and thankfulness for my husband. Don't look at me. He just walked past me as I said this. But that we've just been going through a lot, and I feel like he's been like kind of my biggest like I don't know, protector in so many ways. And he's always
Mhm.
helping to remember what I'm experiencing and cut myself some slack. And he just can I mean, with like hormones and stress and all that, it's like I can be all over the place sometimes. And he's just
Yeah.
so patient with me and always like, he's always on my side, which is something that I'm just really, really appreciative of. He's not saying that I'm always right, but he is always on my side, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate just such a true partnership in that way. Oh, and then
Yeah.
extra thankful for Mikey. He just hopped up with me. Hey,
He was like,
buddy.
don't forget about me.
It was what happened. He's like, hello. I'm super thankful for you, baby. Yes. All right. Oh, his breath smells real bad right now, though. He's really afraid of the doggy like toothbrushes. So
Aw.
I know we're trying our best. So
My dad gives his dogs those green bowls. They're supposed to those green little bones. They're supposed to be good for their breath and like their teeth and stuff. I think they're called greenies or something, but that's what I know. I think that's what my dad gives his dogs.
yeah, we give him greenies. He's just still a little rough sometimes. So I got these like toothbrush things that you like put on your finger because I thought maybe he
Hmm.
wouldn't be like as afraid of that, but it's like he's like traumatized for like hours after every time after
Aw.
I know, poor baby, but your breath stinks. Uh, okay, Mikey, that was not even how we were supposed to be ending this episode. We were wrapping it up with this cute gratitude bow, and now it's about your breath. But that's the real talk.
That's right.
All right, Jesse, should we do our sign off?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, this has been Real Talk with Jesse and Sherrod and Mikey. Now he ran away. He's like, I got my glory in the end. Okay, sorry. No filter,
Filters, no
no fluff,
fluff, just real
just
talk.
real talk. All right, thank you to our audience.
Thank
Maybe,
you.
yeah, thank y'all. I don't know. You don't really say that. I am thankful. Okay.
Yeah, we are thankful for y'all.
All right. Now I've made it awkward. I don't know how we end. I was just gonna stop recording. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.